Hi friends, myself Mrunmay, and in this video I am going to tell you how to add controls to your player. So without wasting our time, let's get started. So now, in order to add controls, we need a player and a base on which it moves. So now, I am just going to add a player and a cube. In my case, my player is a sphere or a ball. So now I'll just make the setup ready. Now I'm just going to select the cube and scale it up a bit so that we could get a sufficient place to move our ball. Now I'm just going to create a new material by right clicking in the assets. Then under create I'll select material. I'll name the material as ground green. Now I'll just add the material to the cube and I'll change its color to green. So now it looks like ground. Now in order to add controls, your player needs this component, that is rigid body. If it's not there, you can add in this way. You can just search for RE and you'll get the component. So now I'll just add a different material to the ball so that we could see that our player is rotating. If in your case you think that your player must not rotate, so you can go here in the rigid body component, and from here below you can freeze all the rotations. In my case, I want my ball to rotate, so I'll just keep it as it is. So now I'm just going to select the main camera and adjust it a bit so that we could see our ground and the player easily in the game view. And now it looks nice. So now we need to create a script. So in order to program a new script, I'll right click here in the assets and under create I'll select C# script and I'll rename it as add control. And you can also create a new folder in the same way. And now I'll rename it as scripts, and then we can just simply drag our script into it. Again, you can create a new folder in the same way and name it as materials and drag our ground green color material into it. Now we just have to open the script. For me, it opens in Visual Studio. For you guys, it may open in any other software according to your Unity software. So now wherever it opens, you must see this. This first just introduces what we are using. This here, just make sure that whatever name you have given to your script, the same name is written here, as I named it as add control, and it's written add control. In this section, whatever programming or coding we do has been executed only once at the beginning of the game, and whatever programming or coding we do here could be executed many times. It depends upon your graphics card. Now we don't need this first one, so we directly move on to the next one. Here, in order to move the player, we need to contact with the rigid body component. So the way we do that is by mentioning get component and a smaller than symbol and a greater than symbol, and inside those brackets we write rigid body, and after that opening and a closing simple bracket. After that we write dot velocity, velocity. Velocity is a vector, so the direction and the speed the rigid body object is moving in. Now if you are wondering how a vector looks like, so it looks like this. equals to space new space vector 3 and a opening and a closing simple bracket. So now if we write our values directly here in these brackets, then our player moves in only the specified direction. Means if we are mentioning x value, then it would move only in x-axis, but it won't fall down as we are not specifying the y value. So in order to not to keep the values constant, we can just add a plus symbol before the equal to sign. Now we go back up here and we can just delete all this stuff, and instead we should make a variable here. So now, as earlier we discussed that velocity is a vector, so now I'll just make a variable for vector by mentioning vector 3 space v3 force. As I have named the variable v3 force, you can name it whatever you want as per your convenience or as per you want, and make sure you give a semicolon at the end of the line. Then above this we type into square brackets serialized field. This serialized field is an attribute that is applied to this variable. Now we can just change this here to our variable, that is v3 force, and again give a semicolon at the end. Now the reason behind changing this is that if we want to change the speed of the ball, we can directly change it through the Unity Inspector menu instead of again and again opening the script, and it also saves our time. Now below we need to add a few more serialized fields. I'll just copy the same line. This time the variable is represented by key code. I'm going to name the variable as key positive. Again here you can name it whatever you want, but it's good to name something meaningful and something that we could remember easily. And again we could copy the same code and again paste it below and just change the variable name from key positive to key negative. Back down here we write a if statement. We will be mentioning if space opening and a closing simple bracket. Inside those we write input dot get key, again opening and a closing simple bracket. Inside that we mention our first variable, that is key positive, and then again we close both the simple brackets. Do the same for the negative key, change the positive to negative and change this plus equal to minus equal to. And make sure now here you change void update to void fixed update, and don't get confused here about brackets, semicolons, dot and many other. Slowly you will get used to this syntax. And now finally we are done with the script. Here we are just mentioning that if key positive is pressed, run the task with plus equal to symbol, and if key negative, run the task with minus equal to. And now here just make sure you change get keys K to capital K on both the places for key negative and key positive. And here below in rigid body I wrote G, I'll just change it to D. So now it's rigid body and we are done with the script. Now save it and we get back to Unity. Now what we are going to do is just add this script to our player as a component in either of the ways, by just dragging it over the player object or dragging it in the inspector menu. We can also remove a component by just simply right clicking on it and selecting remove component. We can also add again our same script from here, add component. I'll just search for add and I'll get my script. Now all these just appeared here, this x value, y value and z value, and this key positive and all, just because we wrote the serialized field attribute. If we might have not written that attribute, we won't have been able to see this all here. So now we would be just specifying our player's speed in the x-axis. I want it to be 0.1, and for In positive axis, I am going to select right arrow, and for key negative, I am going to select left arrow. Now if we go up here and hit play, we could now control our ball in x-axis. Now to make our player move in z-axis as well, what we are going to do is we are going to add same script again to the ball. And as earlier we specified x-axis value, now we would be specifying z-axis speed. Again I want it to be 0.1. Now I have chosen front arrow for positive and back arrow for negative. Here also you can choose whichever keys you want. I have chosen them according to all the arrows. And now if we hit play, whoa, we can control our ball in all directions. Now I'm just going to stop playing and I'm just going to change the material of the ball so that the ball looks more attractive. And now if we hit play again, even then we can control our ball in the same way. So even after adding controls, if you change the material of any objects, you can control the ball in the same way. And now here, if the ball goes out of the range of the ground or the cube, the ball also falls down. With this, we come to an end of this video. If you got to learn something new, write it in the comments. And make sure you like and share my video and also subscribe my channel. If you have any questions, you can ask it in comments below. I'll try my best to answer them. Okay then. Bye guys.